You see the whole thing surrounded by this concrete, what would you call it, containment area.
It's almost like a, yeah.
Like you see in refineries, you know, to contain any, that's in case the tank ruptures or something, or there's a leak. It keeps it all away from the environment. And there's actually two sumps in this, let's walk this way. There's two sumps here in the bottom of this containment area. This one's covered with some plastic, so it keeps the leaves out. But this collects any water that spills over or leaks out, and then it's pumped. It has a sump pump in there, so it works automatically that pumps it back in the tank. It also collects any rainwater here that collects from the rain that's open to the environment. And so in case the rainwater is contaminated by being inside this containment area, it gets processed too. So it's all contained and separate from the environment. So the process starts over here. So the wastewater comes up through this pipe from the winery. This is a meter, tells us how many gallons is pumped through here so we can monitor it. So when people ask me how many gallons of water it takes to make wine, I know what that is by this meter. It records all the gallons that go through there. And then it goes up from the pump that's down below, pumps it up through this pipe into the top of this first tank. These other part of this manifold is coming from the various sumps that return again to this main pipe going into the top of the tank. So this is the first tank. Over here, this is where the air goes in. There's a long manifold. If you step over here, you can see that running to each tank. Long manifold connects to each tank where the air is pumped, and here's where the air comes from. This has a large pump on it that's not operational right now. We just had it rebuilt, but I'll show you the backup there. Everything has a backup. So the air is pumped over here. Let's go see the other pump. We've got this turned off right now so we can talk. But this is the air pump. So it's a motor and a Roots style pump like they use on dragsters, big diesel trucks, and that pumps great volumes of air. Goes through here and into the air manifold, and then into the top. It goes into the top of the tank, but the pipes actually go down to the bottom of the tank where the air manifold is. So where the aeration manifold, all the PVC with all the little holes in it, and then that bubbles up through there. So let's go this way.
And it's a good thing we have a backup too, because that one was on the fritz, huh?
Yeah. So the little one's operational while the big one's being fixed. The big one's actually on an automatic controller, so it's got, let's go over the monitoring system. It's got a series of monitoring devices. Let me turn this off so we don't have to listen to it tick. This is where everything's controlled. This device monitors the oxygen demand. So up in the top of the tank, there's an oxygen sensor. And the sensor measures the dissolved oxygen. There's also a pH meter up there. So this measures the demand of oxygen of the VODs in so many cubic feet per minute. So it tells these other devices, these are pumps. We have to keep the pH at a certain level. The bacteria only like a pH that is almost neutral. It's like water, so it's somewhere around 7. 7 is neutral. Below 7 is acidic. Above 7 is basic. So we've got an acid pump and a base pump, and these are drums. Here's a drum of sodium hydroxide, which is a very strong base, and then over here we've got drums of sulfuric acid, a very strong acid. And these pumps are controlled by this controller actually, which tells the pumps to turn on and off depending on what the pH is. So if we put a bunch of, say we dumped a bunch of wine in there, wine is a very acidic pH, so it's about 3.4 or 3.7 pH. That's too acidic for the bacteria. So it'll pump some sodium hydroxide into the tank to balance the pH. So it's constantly being automatically monitored to either pump base or acid turned itself on. See, it doesn't
Yeah.
like being turned off.
That's so cool.
Right now, the acid pump is being pumped in. What we've done is we've been racking the wine, so we had a lot of sediment in the bottom of the barrels, and that's created a more basic solution. So right now, it's adding acid to get the pH back up to where it's supposed to be.
So basically, Deerfield has its own water treatment facility.
Yes, this is the same size water treatment facility that would operate for like a town of 5,000 or 6,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thanks for coming on and show us around.
I'm going to show you the inside.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to turn the air pump on, and then you can climb up the ladder and look and peer in the tank, and you can see the bubbles coming up and a wand sticking down there with the O2 meter in it. And you'll notice when you go up there, there's no smell, even though if this water sat, it'd be very stinky, you know.
Yeah, in the sump room, it's really stinky.
Yeah, because it hasn't been processed in the sump room. But up here, the bacteria are so efficient that the water actually smells sweet.
All right, so here we are at the very top of this tank of the bioreactor, and you can see inside right now all the bacteria is bubbling up, and we have the air pump turned on. It's pretty cool. Check out inside. The big orange floating thing is the oxygen sensor. Ooh. Yeah, don't know if I'd want to swim in it. So remember, this is the first tank, so this is the dirtiest one. As it goes over, it gets more and more clean.
Here we are at the end of the last tank. So I was going to say that these tanks work in series. So the wastewater goes into the first tank, and then it fills up and it goes into the second tank. Every tank has an aerator and bacteria in it, so it gets cleaner in each tank. So the first tank cleans it first, then the second tank. And you'd say, well, it's going in the top and they're all full, so it's going from the top of one to the top of the other. But remember, the wastewater is heavier than clear water, so when it pumps in, it goes to the bottom. So the heavier water goes to the bottom. So the water on the top is that goes to the next tank is actually cleaner. And finally, it runs out of this pipe here when this tank gets full. In fact, you can see the sun shining through there where the sun shines. That's the top of the liquid. And it goes into this. This is a separator. This has a series of screens in it which collect the bacteria. They're at an angle, and it pumps in there, and just by gravity, it collects the bacteria. And the water then overflows the top of that into this, which is a concentrator. Actually, that's not quite right. The bacteria goes to the bottom because it's heavier. From there, the bacteria goes to the concentrator and concentrates the bacteria into a kind of a sludge. And we use that for two purposes. One is to refeed the tank to make the bacteria more aggressive and and work harder. And also, the sludge becomes a very nutrient-rich sludge that we use for our compost pile, where we compost all the solid waste. So it's really all parts of this is used for recycling. The water that's collected, that's overflow, now is clean enough that it goes through a very simple screen filter, very fine mesh filter, filter out any little solids that are remaining. At this point, it's still a little gray, as I say, but the pH is neutral and it has no BODs in it. The BODs, we measure so many parts per million. When the water's clean, when the water goes in, it's like 700 or 800 over 1,000 parts per million of BODs. Once it's clean, it's running 40 or 50 parts per million BODs. At that point, we pump it down the hill and use it to irrigate the vineyards.
Well, thanks for giving us the grand tour. It was awesome. I never knew any of this about it, so I learned a lot too. And
well, I'm up here almost every day,
checking this and making sure everything's working.
Yeah.
So now you guys have really seen the whole process here. It's pretty incredible how much we're able to put the water that we use here to good use. And we'll see you guys next week on Cellar Rat TV.
Bye.